All right, folks, on today's episode of Black Bear Voices presented by the good folks over at Bangor Savings Bank, we are joined by Sabrina Nuttall. Okay, hang on. Last name. Say it for me.
Not at all.
Nuttall?
Yes.
All right, folks, on today's episode of Black Bear Voices presented by the good folks over at the Bangor Savings Bank, we are joined by Sabrina Nuttall, former two-year team captain of Maine Swim and Dive, sprint and breaststroke extraordinaire, and now doing something a little bit different after you graduated this spring. Just first of all, Sabrina, how are you and where are you these days?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm currently down in Panhandle of Florida, where it's become very warm and muggy, but I found a job down here and I'm just working for the time being before I go to training.
Funny you talk about training. Believe it or not, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. You have this fascinating student athlete slash member of the military story. So I kind of wanted to talk to you about where you've been and what you've done so far, and maybe even the inspiration behind that. What drives you to do this? I know in the summer of 2019, you went to Officer Candidate School down in Quantico, OCS, and that was kind of the continuation of this journey you've had almost your whole life, from what I can tell. Do you want to kind of talk about how far you've come so far?
Yeah, so when I wasn't in ROTC as a freshman, it was something that I had always wanted to do, but I hadn't taken up the opportunity to do it my freshman year. I just was on the team, and then something kind of clicked in me because my cousin was a part of Holy Cross's ROTC program, and he just seemed like he was having the time of his life and had everything in his future already planned for him. And I've always wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. So my sophomore year, I joined ROTC, and I had my contract as a ground contract as a sophomore, and that would give me a 2.5-year scholarship for school, and then I would have 4 years of service afterwards. Then going into my senior year, I went to officer candidate school, and I kind of got a feel for different fields out in the Marine Corps, and I thought that flying would be absolutely incredible. So after OCS, I did everything in my power to try and change my contract to an aviation contract. So then I now owe 8 years of service after. So
Wow.
that's kind of where I am right now. I just commissioned on May 9th as a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps, and then in October I'll be going to the basic school.
Wow. Congratulations on the commissioning.
Thank you.
As you may know, because you're friends with my sister, Emily Neville, who also swam at UMaine. My dad was in the Marine Corps
Right.
for over 20 years. OCS is not really a fun summer camp away, from what I understand. What was your experience like? What's that process of becoming a Marine? Because there's a lot of mystique and aura in that. And what was it
Right.
like for you personally?
It was an interesting journey. I didn't expect it to be what it was. I thought it would be a lot more of a physical, what would you call it? Like a physical something harder to do physically, but it actually was something that was more of a mental game, and they're just toying with your mind to try and figure out if you're right for the job, if you're right to be in the Marine Corps. And so there are a lot of challenges that you have to deal with day to day, and you have specific things that you have to do daily. But they're just trying to pull all of the emotions out of you so that you know how to control it and you know how to deal with whatever might be happening out in the field. So it was a lot of just mind blowing, mind opening experiences that really just kind of showed me that this is something that I want to do. And although it might be tough, at least I'll be helping other people and being a part of something that's bigger than myself. So
Wow. So you go through this whole emotionally testing and physically testing experience, and then you finally get to the point where you get your Eagle Globe and anchors, which is
Mhm.
the moment after
Right.
OCS. What was that like for you going through this? I think Gauntlet might have been the word you were looking for, but
That is it. Yes.
going through this intense experience, and
It
then
is.
finally that culmination. What was that moment like for you?
It was I had no words. We had all of my everybody that was in my platoon, we all just had been working so hard, and some people struggled with academics, some people struggled physically, some people struggled mentally, but in the end, our goal was to get receive our Eagle Globe and Anchor and become a Marine and earn that title. So all of us coming together and being a part of the same ceremony and just lining up and shaking all of our instructors' hands, it was a very heartwarming experience, and I wouldn't have had it done any other way because we were all together and doing the same thing. So
Terrific. So working backwards a little bit, how was your experience with this kind of almost triple life you're leading as a student, as an athlete, and as a person building their military career while you were still in school? What was that kind of work life sport balance like for you while you were in Orno?
uh well, it
Yeah.
was I was always busy. I always had something to do. I really liked having the structure of being a student athlete and knowing this is when my practice time is. This is when I'll be lifting, and this is when I have all of these other things to do, along with the academic study hours. And just being a captain also sometimes had some things that I had to do. But then on the other hand, I was part of ROTC and I had many different types of leadership roles. I was the uh, this I'm sorry. I was the command fitness leader. I was the division officer. I was the executive officer and the academics officer. So I had a couple of different roles throughout the 3 years that I was in. Um, and there was always something that I had to be doing. There was never a time where I would really just like sit back and relax. There was always something that I was doing on the side, but I enjoyed that because I I don't like just sitting down and not doing anything. I like having something to do and helping somebody else. And so sometimes I would have to prioritize and put swimming before ROTC, or I'd have to put ROTC before swimming. It kind of just depended on the time of year and what was going on. But school was always my number one priority, and then everything else just kind of came into play. Um, and then I also had to work uh, throughout school as well, so I didn't really have a lot of downtime. But any downtime that I did have, I would just try and zone in on myself and focus on my mental health.
Geez, that's a lot. I mean, looking back as someone that covered so much ground in 4 years, is there anything you would have done differently, or maybe the next Sabrina Nuttall that's this motivated and driven? Is there any advice you would give to that 17, 18-year-old kid?
Um, the only thing I would have done differently is to join ROTC freshman year. That way, I would have all 4 years of the experience. We've been on field training exercises, which definitely helps for officer candidate school. Um, but for another person that wants to be a student athlete and be a part of ROTC or a part of another organization, not even just ROTC, I would say go for it and give it a try because at least you're giving it a try. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to continue doing it. But if there will always be something in the back of your head that says, what if, and if you don't take that chance, how are you supposed to know if you liked it or not? So I would just say, go for it, follow your heart, follow your dreams. And if it doesn't work out for you, then it's okay. At least you tried.
Right. So we've covered all this ground. We know where you've been. You've done just about everything you could do as a student athlete. But now bringing it back home to Maine athletics, your experience as a swimmer end to end, how did it change? What did it do for you, and just your general reflections being part of Maine swimming and diving, such a big part for 4 full years?
So from freshman year, there was a lot of just trying to figure out how to manage my time um, with everything that was going on in my life. And it was very difficult at first because I wasn't really sure what I was supposed to do with my time and the downtime that I did have before ROTC. So that was really great. And then also learning about all of my teammates and understanding how everybody functions and does things together. It was a very eye-opening experience and something I hadn't really seen before. I'd seen camaraderie, of course, on my past teams, but nothing like the camaraderie on a college athletic team. And then going into, sophomore, junior year, there were times where it was very difficult to choose people that would be on the relay for my coaches. And when they chose me to be a part of two record-breaking relays, I was dumbfounded, and it was just an incredible experience to be a part of. And I'm so grateful to have all of these experiences through UMaine Athletics. So
Yeah, I don't think anyone possibly has ever done more in 4 years. So way to really get the most out of your money there. Look, that's all I had for you today. Just wanted to catch up with you and check in. So thanks for joining us.
thank you for having me.
Like to add or any shout outs you'd like to throw out there or anything?
I would just like to say thank you to the UMaine Black Bears for a wonderful 4 years. Thank you for always being there for all of the athletes, whether it's on or off the field, in or out of the pool. UMaine Athletics is always there to help you out. So I really appreciate everything that everybody has done for me the past 4 years, and how much understanding you've had with everything I've had going on. So just thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
Perfect. I could have written that myself. That was perfect. That's going to wrap up this episode of Black Bear Voices. Sabrina, again, thanks for joining us. Best of luck going forward, and we can't wait to see what else you do.
Thank you so much.
All right.